Why is Queen Camilla so uneasy about a tiara? The Spencer Tiara, once worn by Princess Diana, is now at the center of a royal controversy. With reports suggesting that Princess Charlotte may inherit it, speculation is growing about Camilla's reaction. Is this just about tradition, or does it expose deeper tensions within the monarchy? Could Charlotte's inheritance of Diana's iconic tiara reignite old rivalries? And does this reveal the royal family's ongoing struggle with Diana's enduring legacy? But not just any tiara, the Spencer Tiara, a dazzling heirloom that once sat atop Princess Diana's head on her wedding day. And according to royal insiders, Queen Camilla is not happy about it. As King Charles and Queen Camilla settle into their reign, the royal family is preparing for the next generation to take the spotlight. The focus is now on Prince William, Princess Kate, and their 3 children, particularly their only daughter, Charlotte. With her poised demeanor and growing confidence in public appearances, royal watchers have already begun comparing her to her late grandmother, Princess Diana. But it isn't just Charlotte's natural charm that has people talking, it's the question of inheritance, specifically over the tiara most closely associated with Diana's legacy. Unlike the jewels kept in the royal collection, the Spencer Tiara is privately owned by the Spencer family, meaning that Buckingham Palace has no control over it. For years, speculation has grown that Diana's only granddaughter, Charlotte, would one day inherit the tiara. The idea of her wearing it in the future, possibly at a royal event or even on her wedding day, has been widely embraced as a fitting tribute to the late Princess of Wales. But behind palace walls, this possibility has reportedly stirred discomfort, with Queen Camilla's reaction described as particularly strong. The Spencer Tiara carries deep emotional significance, not just for Charlotte, but for those who still view Diana as a defining figure in modern royal history. The dazzling headpiece was a striking part of her wedding day on 29 July 1981, as she walked down the aisle at St. Paul's Cathedral to marry Prince Charles. The moment was watched by millions across the globe, cementing the tiara's place in history. But while the world saw a fairy tale, Diana was already aware that she was stepping into a complicated marriage. From the beginning, her relationship with Charles was overshadowed by another woman, Camilla. The affair between Charles and Camilla was an open secret for much of Diana's life, and despite efforts to maintain appearances, the marriage eventually collapsed under the weight of betrayal and heartbreak. When Diana gave her now iconic interview to the BBC's Panorama in 1995, her words sent shockwaves through the monarchy. Speaking candidly about Charles and Camilla's long-running affair, she famously remarked, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Diana's candidness shattered the carefully curated image of the royal family, making it impossible for the institution to ignore public sentiment. Camilla, long seen as the other woman, faced overwhelming scrutiny, while Diana continued to be adored by the public. Even after her tragic passing in 1997, her influence never faded. If anything, it grew stronger. And this is precisely why any connection to her legacy, especially something as symbolic as the Spencer Tiara, continues to carry weight within the royal family. For Queen Camilla, the idea of Princess Charlotte wearing Diana's tiara is more than just a simple inheritance. It is a reminder that, despite her official title as queen, Diana's memory still casts a long shadow. The transition from Duchess of Cornwall to Queen Camilla has not been without its challenges. Though she has worked to establish her own role within the monarchy, she remains a divisive figure. Public opinion of Camilla has softened over the years, but it has never fully shifted in her favor. The mere mention of Diana often brings back the difficult history of the past, making any situation involving her name a potential point of controversy. It is no surprise, then, that reports of Camilla's reaction to Charlotte's rumored inheritance of the tiara have sparked renewed debate. Some sources suggest she believes the tiara should remain solely within the Spencer family, arguing that it has no place within the monarchy. Others believe there is a more personal reason behind her discomfort, that she sees the tiara as a direct link to Diana's legacy, one that could potentially overshadow her own role within the royal family. This is not the first time Camilla has been at the center of controversy regarding Diana's belongings. Over the years, she has worn several pieces of Diana's jewelry, a fact that has not gone unnoticed by royal watchers. Perhaps the most infamous example was in January 2022, when she transformed one of Diana's most beloved emerald necklaces into a brooch. The necklace, originally gifted to Diana by the Queen Mother, had been an iconic part of her wardrobe, most famously worn as a choker during a royal tour of Australia. The decision to alter it was met with immediate backlash, with critics calling it disrespectful and unnecessary. The controversy surrounding Diana's jewelry highlights a deeper issue. Who has the right to carry on her legacy? When Camilla wears Diana's old pieces, it is often seen as a point of contention, a reminder of the painful history between them. Yet, when Princess Charlotte's potential inheritance of the Spencer Tiara is discussed, there is a pushback from certain royal circles. This apparent double standard has fueled speculation that there is more to this debate than just a piece of jewelry. At its core, this issue is about more than the tiara itself. It is about the lasting impact of Diana's influence and the ways in which the monarchy continues to navigate her legacy. Even after all these years, anything connected to Diana remains highly scrutinized, and the Spencer Tiara is no exception. Whether Camilla's reported reaction stems from a desire to uphold royal tradition, or from a more personal hesitation, one thing is clear. The tiara represents something much bigger than just an accessory. But if the Spencer Tiara does indeed go to Princess Charlotte, what would that mean for the royal family's relationship with the Spencers? And could this inheritance further solidify Charlotte's connection to her grandmother's memory, shaping her future role within the monarchy? These are questions that remain unanswered, but as discussions about the tiara continue, one thing is certain: the battle over Diana's legacy is far from over. The controversy surrounding the Spencer Tiara has reignited debates about Diana's legacy and the royal family's ongoing struggle with its past. While the public embraces the idea of Princess Charlotte wearing the tiara as a tribute to her late grandmother, the palace remains notably silent on the matter. But the question remains, why would Queen Camilla, who has worn pieces of Diana's jewelry herself, be unsettled by the idea of Charlotte inheriting the Spencer Tiara? The issue runs deeper than a mere family heirloom. The royal family has long been protective of its image, carefully curating narratives that align with tradition and stability. Anything that stirs up old wounds or reminds the public of past scandals is seen as a potential disruption. Diana's legacy, while celebrated by the public, remains a complicated subject within the monarchy. Unlike Queen Elizabeth, who maintained a more distant relationship with the late princess, King Charles carries the weight of Diana's influence in a far more personal way. His marriage to Camilla, once the subject of intense scrutiny, has now been fully legitimized by both the royal establishment and the British public. However, any mention of Diana has the potential to reignite memories of the past, memories that some in the palace would prefer to fade. The Spencer Tiara is not just a glittering accessory. It represents everything that Diana stood for: independence, charisma, and a deep connection with the people. For many, seeing Charlotte inherit the tiara would symbolize a continuation of Diana's legacy through the younger generation of royals. But this also presents a challenge. The current royal narrative is focused on moving forward, presenting a modern monarchy that is free from past divisions. Camilla's transition from Duchess of Cornwall to Queen was carefully orchestrated to be as smooth as possible, ensuring that she was seen as a legitimate royal figure rather than an outsider. The last thing she needs is for Diana's presence to be reasserted through the next generation. This is where the controversy begins to take on a new dimension. Camilla, now officially queen, has spent years rehabilitating her public image. Gone are the days when she was seen only as the other woman. Through her charitable work and dedication to the royal family, she has positioned herself as a supportive figure to King Charles. But the question remains: does the shadow of Diana still loom over her reign? Some royal watchers believe that Camilla's discomfort with Charlotte inheriting the Spencer Tiara stems from this very issue. It is not just about a piece of jewelry. It is about the unshakable presence of a woman who, despite being gone for over 2 decades, still holds a firm place in the hearts of the British people. If this is indeed the case, it raises further questions about Camilla's approach to Diana's legacy. Over the years, she has worn several pieces of jewelry that once belonged to Diana, including a diamond and emerald necklace that the late princess famously wore as a choker during her tour of Australia. The backlash was swift when Camilla was seen wearing the piece in a different setting, with critics calling it an unnecessary provocation The same controversy resurfaced when she was spotted in other jewelry pieces that had once been worn by Diana, leading many to question why it was acceptable for Camilla to use Diana's jewels while Charlotte's inheritance of the Spencer tiara was being debated. There is also a practical aspect to this debate. The Spencer tiara, while historically tied to Diana, does not belong to the royal family. It remains in the possession of Diana's family, with Earl Spencer serving as its custodian. Historically, the Spencers have been protective of their legacy, ensuring that their family treasures remain within their bloodline. The idea of the tiara being worn by a member of the royal family, albeit Diana's granddaughter, may raise concerns among them as well. Would the Spencers be comfortable allowing Charlotte, a royal princess, to claim what has long been an exclusive Spencer heirloom? Or would they prefer it to stay within the Spencer lineage, passed down through Diana's nieces instead? These are questions without clear answers, but they highlight the complexity of royal inheritance. The monarchy operates on strict tradition, but when personal and emotional factors come into play, even the most established norms can become points of contention. The Spencer tiara may not be an official part of the crown jewels, but its importance in royal history makes it just as significant. And if Princess Charlotte is meant to receive it, what message does that send to the rest of the royal family? The debate over Diana's legacy does not end with the tiara. It extends into the broader question of how the royal family chooses to remember her. While official tributes to Diana are carefully curated, statues, charitable initiatives, and anniversary commemorations, there is a clear effort to keep her influence contained. William and Harry have both spoken openly about their mother, ensuring that her humanitarian work and values are remembered. However, the way Diana's legacy is handled within the royal family itself is far more complicated. William, as the future king, has positioned himself as the bridge between tradition and modernity. His approach to royal duties reflects many of the qualities Diana embodied: warmth, approachability, and a genuine connection with the people. Kate, too, has been compared to Diana, not only in her fashion choices, but in her dedication to charitable work. However, unlike Diana, Kate has carefully navigated the rigid structures of the monarchy, ensuring that she does not challenge the establishment in the way her late mother-in-law once did. Charlotte, still a child, may not yet understand the weight of her grandmother's legacy, but as she grows, she will inevitably be drawn into the ongoing conversation about Diana's place in history. If she does inherit the Spencer tiara, it will not just be a matter of tradition, it will be a statement. It will signify that Diana's influence is alive within the next generation, that her granddaughter carries the same lineage and spirit that made Diana beloved by millions. This is why the debate over the tiara is so much more than just an issue of inheritance. It is about the monarchy's relationship with its own history, about how it chooses to embrace or distance itself from the most beloved royal of the modern era. Camilla's reported discomfort with Charlotte wearing the Spencer tiara is a reflection of this ongoing struggle. It is a reminder that Diana's presence cannot be erased, no matter how much time has passed. But if Charlotte does one day wear the tiara, what will that mean for her role within the royal family? Could she, like her grandmother, become a figure of modernity within the monarchy? And more importantly, does this debate signal deeper unresolved tensions between the Spencers and the Windsors? These are questions that will continue to unfold as Charlotte grows into her role. But one thing is certain: Diana's legacy is not going anywhere. The royal family has always been defined by its traditions, its jewels, and its carefully maintained image. But beneath the surface, these symbols of grandeur often mask deeper tensions. Tensions that, in many ways, still revolve around the legacy of Princess Diana. As discussions about the Spencer tiara continue, one undeniable truth remains. Anything connected to Diana still carries weight, both within the royal family and among the public. The tiara is just one piece of a much larger issue. Who gets to control the memory of one of the most beloved royals in history? For years, Diana's presence in the monarchy was both celebrated and carefully managed. Following her tragic passing in 1997, the royal family worked to present a united front, distancing itself from past scandals. Queen Elizabeth's famously delayed response to Diana's death had already put the palace under immense public scrutiny, forcing them to acknowledge the depth of the nation's grief. Over time, official tributes were established, a statue, public memorials, and countless charitable initiatives aimed at honoring Diana's humanitarian work. But these carefully curated acknowledgments did not erase the deeper tensions surrounding her memory. Prince William and Prince Harry, the two people most affected by Diana's passing, have spoken openly about their mother's influence on their lives. William, who has remained close to the monarchy, has found ways to incorporate her values into his public role, ensuring that Diana's compassionate approach continues within the royal family. Harry, on the other hand, has taken a far more critical stance, accusing the institution of failing to protect Diana and later, his own family. His decision to step away from royal duties along with Meghan Markle has only intensified the debate over how Diana's legacy is handled within the royal framework. The Spencer Tiara, while seemingly just a piece of jewelry, is a physical representation of this ongoing struggle. It is a reminder that Diana did not simply disappear from history. Her presence lingers in every discussion about the future of the monarchy. The fact that her only granddaughter, Charlotte, is expected to inherit it only amplifies the conversation. If Charlotte does one day wear the tiara at a significant event such as a royal wedding, it will not just be a tribute to her grandmother, it will be a statement. A statement that Diana's influence continues through the next generation. This possibility is precisely what makes Camilla's reported discomfort with the inheritance so intriguing. As queen, Camilla has worked hard to establish herself as a respected figure in the monarchy. She is focused on charitable causes, particularly those supporting literacy, osteoporosis awareness, and victims of domestic abuse. She has, for the most part, avoided direct engagement with conversations about Diana, recognizing that any attempt to rewrite the past would likely backfire. But no matter how much time passes, Camilla's place in history is inseparable from her past relationship with Charles. For many, she will always be the woman who disrupted Diana's marriage. Despite the public shift in perception over the years, there are still clear divisions. A recent survey showed that while a significant portion of the British public has accepted Camilla as queen, a considerable number still struggle with her presence in the monarchy. This divide is especially noticeable when it comes to any comparisons between her and Diana. Camilla's public appearances, her fashion choices, and even her jewelry selections are often scrutinized through the lens of her past, with any perceived overlap with Diana reigniting old debates. The controversy surrounding Camilla's use of Diana's jewelry is a prime example of this. Over the years, she has been seen wearing pieces that once belonged to Diana, a fact that has not gone unnoticed by royal watchers. Some view this as a natural transition. After all, royal jewels are passed down from one generation to the next. But others see it as an attempt to erase Diana's influence, a subtle yet pointed effort to reframe royal history. The transformation of Diana's emerald necklace into a brooch in 2022 was particularly controversial. While Camilla did not personally alter the piece, its modification was seen as symbolic. Critics argued that it was yet another instance of Diana's memory being repurposed rather than preserved. The backlash highlighted an ongoing sentiment: Diana's legacy does not belong to the monarchy alone. It is shared by the public, by her sons, and by those who still view her as the true people's princess. So where does that leave the Spencer Tiara? Unlike the crown jewels, which belong to the monarchy, the tiara is firmly in the hands of the Spencer family. This makes the discussion even more complex. If Diana's brother, Earl Spencer, chooses to pass it down to Charlotte, it will be a personal family decision rather than a royal one. However, the implications will be far-reaching. It will reinforce the idea that Diana's influence is not confined to the palace but extends beyond it. It will be a reminder that despite the monarchy's efforts to move forward, Diana remains an integral part of its story. For Princess Charlotte, this inheritance would be both an honor and a responsibility. As the only granddaughter of Diana, she will inevitably be compared to her late grandmother, much like her mother, Kate Middleton, has been. But unlike Kate, Charlotte was born directly into royalty. She is not just a future royal, she is third in line to the throne. Her actions, even as a child, are carefully observed, and her future role within the monarchy will be shaped by both tradition and public perception. At just 8 years old, Charlotte is already showing signs of confidence in the public eye. She has been seen at major royal events, displaying a level of poise that has led many to speculate about her future. as a prominent royal figure. If she does one day wear the Spencer Tiara, whether at an official engagement or her own wedding, the world will undoubtedly draw parallels between her and Diana. The conversation about the tiara is not just about the past, it is about the future. As the monarchy continues to evolve, the question of how it handles Diana's legacy will remain a central issue. Camilla's position in the royal family is secure, but her relationship with the public is still a work in progress. The tiara debate is a reflection of the broader challenge the monarchy faces: how to honor the past while moving forward. If the Spencer family ultimately decides to pass the tiara to Charlotte, what impact will it have on the monarchy's image? Will it be seen as a tribute to Diana, or will it reopen old wounds? And more importantly, as Charlotte grows into her role, how will she navigate the weight of being Diana's granddaughter? These are questions that will unfold over time, but one thing is clear: Diana's influence is far from fading. Whether through her sons, her granddaughter, or the very symbols she left behind, her legacy remains an undeniable part of the monarchy's future. The monarchy has always been built on tradition, on the careful preservation of history, and on the passing down of titles, roles, and symbols of power. But the battle over the Spencer Tiara reveals something deeper, something that goes beyond inheritance and into the very heart of what the royal family represents today. It is a reflection of the monarchy's struggle to define itself in a modern world, a world where the past is never truly forgotten. Princess Diana remains one of the most influential figures in royal history. Her impact is still felt decades after her passing, shaping how people view the monarchy and what they expect from it. For many, she represented a shift away from rigid royal traditions, a figure who embraced warmth, compassion, and relatability at a time when the institution often felt distant from the public. Her ability to connect with ordinary people, to shake hands with AIDS patients at a time when fear and stigma were widespread, to walk through minefields in an effort to raise awareness, made her stand apart. She wasn't just a princess, she was a symbol of change. This is why anything tied to Diana, her jewelry, her style, her mannerisms, continues to hold significance. The Spencer Tiara, in particular, remains one of the most enduring images of her. Unlike many of the royal jewels, it did not belong to the crown, it belonged to her family. A personal heirloom that carried its own history. When she wore it on her wedding day, it became instantly recognizable, a piece forever linked to her public image. And now, decades later, the possibility of her only granddaughter inheriting it has reignited discussions about her lasting influence. For Queen Camilla, these discussions may feel like a reminder of the past, one that she has spent years trying to move beyond. Her marriage to King Charles has been accepted by the monarchy and, to an extent, by the public. But the comparisons to Diana have never entirely faded. Even after assuming the title of Queen, she remains aware that for many, Diana's shadow still looms over her role. Any situation that brings Diana's memory back into focus, particularly one involving Charlotte, presents a challenge. The idea of Princess Charlotte wearing the Spencer Tiara is more than just a symbolic moment. It is a message. A message that Diana's legacy is alive and well within the next generation of royals. The monarchy, which has worked to establish a sense of continuity and stability, would once again find itself at the center of public discussions about Diana's place in history. And while Camilla has not publicly addressed the controversy, royal insiders suggest that her hesitation stems from this very reality. But the question remains, does the monarchy still struggle with how to handle Diana's memory? Officially, the royal family has honored her in various ways, from the statue commissioned by her sons to the charitable initiatives carried forward in her name. However, there has always been an effort to manage her narrative carefully, to ensure that her influence does not overshadow the institution itself. The Spencer Tiara debate only highlights how difficult this balance remains. There is also the question of how Charlotte's inheritance of the tiara would be perceived by the public. Would it be seen as a rightful passing of tradition, or would it be interpreted as a statement about the monarchy's relationship with Diana's side of the family? The Spencers have largely remained independent from royal affairs since Diana's passing, choosing to honor her legacy in their own way. If Earl Spencer does indeed pass the tiara down to Charlotte, it would signify a direct link between Diana's bloodline and the future of the royal family. It would be a reminder that Diana was more than just a royal figure, she was a Spencer first. Charlotte herself, of course, is still too young to grasp the full weight of this debate. At 8 years old, she is growing up under intense public scrutiny, much like her grandmother once did. As she continues to take on more public roles, she will likely become increasingly aware of the comparisons to Diana, whether through the media or through public expectations. The tiara, in this sense, is not just an accessory, it is a symbol of the history she is inheriting. For the monarchy, the implications go beyond just one piece of jewelry. The discussion surrounding the Spencer Tiara reflects broader questions about how the royal family adapts to change, how it acknowledges its past, and how it navigates the challenges of maintaining tradition in a world that is constantly evolving. Camilla's reported hesitation, whether rooted in personal history or a desire to maintain stability, is just one perspective in this ongoing conversation. King Charles, for his part, has remained publicly neutral on the matter. His reign has been focused on ensuring a smooth transition, maintaining the monarchy's role in a rapidly shifting political and social landscape. He has taken steps to modernize the institution, emphasizing issues like climate change and inclusivity. However, his past with Diana remains one of the defining aspects of his legacy, and how he handles discussions surrounding her influence will be a key factor in how history remembers him. Ultimately, the fate of the Spencer Tiara remains uncertain. The decision rests with the Spencer family, and while many assume it will one day be passed to Charlotte, no official confirmation has been made. But the fact that this discussion continues to spark debate is telling. It is a reminder that Diana's presence has not faded, that her legacy still holds power, and that the monarchy is still shaped by the choices made during and after her lifetime. The coming years will reveal more about how the royal family chooses to position itself in relation to Diana's history. Will they fully embrace the idea of Charlotte carrying on her grandmother's legacy, or will they continue to manage and contain its influence? And as Charlotte grows into her role, how will she navigate the expectations placed upon her as Diana's granddaughter? One thing is certain, this is not just about a tiara. It is about memory, influence, and the unbreakable link between past and future. Diana may no longer be here, but her presence remains undeniable. And no matter how much time passes, the royal family will always be defined, in part, by the legacy she left behind. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.